Alálùbáríkà lọ́dọ̀ mi, iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run mi, ó tì mí là kọjá.
Okay, Pastor. That was a good one. Okay. Hello, viewers. You're welcome. This is Life and Relationship Realities. And today is exciting because, well, they say there's a love in the air. I don't know if that is true, but yes, at least there's a love of Christ anyway. So today we have, it's a very special thing because this is February. It's a love month. Um, I don't know why they chose February anyway, but it's okay. February is a love month, as is normally acknowledged. You know, there's Valentine coming on the 14th. So this month, in this ministry, we're going to be focusing on love in diverse ways. Today, we're talking about 5 love languages. Next week, we're going to be talking about loving yourself. And then the other week, we're going to be talking about marriage and money. You know, the different dimension of relationship. But today I have a very important guest. He's not a guest, you know, he's a brother to me in the Lord. we're co-laborers. And he's someone that I appreciate so much. And he's someone that I have so much respect for. His name is there, you can see. But we're still going to call his name is Pastor Benson Ogbe. He's the lead pastor at House of Hope in Jos. That's a church in Jos. In case you have never been, you're in Jos, please go and visit. He's a process consultant. He's a leadership expert. He's also the founder, and I don't know how to say this one, Pastor, whether to say lead pastor or not lead pastor, lead something of Benson Ogbe mentoring, relationship mentoring. He's a husband of one wife.
Female,
That I give you. Yes.
female,
Husband of one wife. One
female.
female wife.
Yeah.
Husband of one female wife. The wife is very pretty, Pastor Patience. And then is a father of lovely children. I say the wife is pretty because I don't know how pastors do it. They say they are closing their eyes to pray, but when it's time to choose a life partner, they happen to marry the most beautiful women. So I'm asking myself, were they really closing their eyes praying, or they were watching and praying? So anyway, let me welcome our guest today, Pastor Benson Ogbe. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Pastor T. It's such an honor. I can't remember the last time I was there, but it's almost like a decade ago, even though it was just. But I want to appreciate you for all you do, first of all, and for how much value you have brought, you are bringing to the lives of many people in across the world. And I want to appreciate you for that. And I want to also appreciate you for the opportunity that you have given me today to come and share my thoughts with everyone across the world. Thank you so much, Pastor T. I really appreciate you and I celebrate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. I want to say to people that are watching, please share this video. This is going to really great. This man of God is loaded, like loaded in so many ways. If you have a loved one that needs something in their marriage, in their relationship, please get them on board, because it's not every day we have this opportunity of bringing this amazing man of God. And so today, Pastor Benson, we're going to start. We're talking about 5 love languages. Can we quickly talk about these 5 first, in case somebody is here and they may have to rush to do something and come back? What are these 5? Can you help us list them first before we start talking about them one by one?
Okay, quick one, Pastor. First of all, let me quickly state that the person that actually brought into our consciousness what the 5 love languages are is a man by the name of Dr. Gary Chapman, who, propounded, as far as I'm concerned, um, the principles or the concept of the five love languages. And he was just trying to make us understand that as humans, there are different ways with which we interpret or receive love. And so he divided those ways uh, into five ways, divided it into five categories. One, he said, there is quality time. There's that love language called quality time. There is the one that is called words of affirmation. These are persons who are big on receiving affirmation, who are big on receiving compliments for whatever it is that they do. And then he mentioned also gifts. Receiving of gifts is another form of love language. And then he also mentioned acts of service. And then there is physical touch. So 5 basic love languages that we have. There is quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, receiving of gifts, act of service, and then physical touch. So these are 5 ways, different ways in which people perceive, interpret, and receive love.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pastor. When you're talking about receiving gifts, I have my friend online, Pastor Rosemary. She happened to even give me this. She gave me this cross necklace that I'm wearing. I used to tell myself something. I said, I believe that I'm one of the people that have all the 5 languages. And then most times they say there's a minor one, there's the distinct one. Can you expatiate on ours? Like people coming, some people are hearing for the first time. What is this love language about? What is quality time? What is words of affirmation? What is it, and what does it have to do on our relationships?
Like I said, Pastor Tolu, these are 5 basic love languages. In fact, there are persons who may not be able to, who may have other ways in which they perceive, interpret, or receive love. But these are basic that can be applicable to many of us. Yeah, and so like you said, if I must begin to expatiate on them, it simply means you can't love people on your own account or on your own terms. You have to love people the way they want to be loved. So for every of us, it is the way we want to be loved that that will make us appreciate love. You can't love me the way I don't want to be loved. Just like in normal languages that we speak, there is no way I can understand a language. I can understand what you are saying if I don't appreciate or know the language that you're speaking. In the same manner, I can't receive love until it is given in the manner with which I understand or I perceive it or I interpret it. So you can't love people on your own terms. And so it's important that if you are going into any form of love relationship, especially romantic relationship, it is important to understand how your partner interprets, perceives, or understands love. And so we all interpret love in different forms. So one of the reasons why I believe it's important for our romantic relationship is that once you are able to speak the language as far as love is concerned, the love language of someone, then it saves you a lot of energy. It makes it easier for you to have a healthy relationship. Because if my love language, for example, is receiving of gifts, and all you are doing is affirming me with words, it may go a long way. There are people who their love language is receiving of gifts, no matter how little that gift is. If you give them a gift as little as a hand towel, it is much more important to them than anything you can do. And there are those who interpret love or perceive love through spending of time with them. So no matter the amount of spend on gifts, they won't perceive that as love. And it is in the way God created us. Sometimes it's a function of how we were raised. Our encounter with what love is. So when you meet someone and you want to build a healthy romantic relationship, it's important that you identify what is their love language, especially as it's related to these 5 basic ways in which you receive and interpret love. Yes.
Wow, that is so good. So if someone likes to touch, And if, let's say, a man likes to touch and the wife's love language is not touching, how do they balance that? Because sometimes this person love to be, maybe the person is doing what they want to, one person is doing that, but the other person is not getting it. So the man wants to touch, the woman is feeling, I don't like people touching me. I don't like people touching me. How do you balance such a situation when this is somebody's love language and the other person is not understanding this beat and is not willing to go that extra mile to understand that person's love language and to flow with it? What do people like that do?
First of all, let me first say to us that as believers, I know I'm speaking to a larger community of persons, but as believers, love is a commandment. Love is not a feeling. God has given us a commandment to love. I want to read a scripture that always jump at me. In John chapter 13 and verse 34, Jesus speaking said, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another." That you love one another. So God has, as believers, to love one another. And love is not a feeling, like I say. Love is, if you want to give it a definition in the English term, love is an action word. Love is a verb. Love is not a noun. Love is an action word. Love is a verb. Love is something you give. Love is something, and that is why no selfish person can build a healthy marriage or romantic relationship, because marriage is a place to give, not necessarily a place to take, especially as it concerns you. It's a place for you to. And one of the commandments that God has given us is to give love, is to love one another. It's a commandment, not a feeling. So don't get to a point where I don't feel like loving this person anymore. It's not about your feeling. It's about a. And as believers, I want to read another scripture. I think it's First John chapter 4 and verse 7. He said, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God." So one of the ways that that is evident, that is a proof that you know God, is when you love one another. When we love one another, it's a proof that we know God. Bible says, if you know, it will show in how much you love people, especially the person that you are in a romantic relationship with. Having said that, to answer your question now, it is the responsibility of anybody in a romantic relationship to discover, to get to know what the love language of their spouse is. And that is why, especially when it comes to relationship and marriage, people should seek counsel. People should talk to the right persons when they want to get into a love or a romantic relationship, if you understand what I mean. So it is a responsibility that you have as a partner in a romantic relationship to discover what the love language of your partner is. Just like if you go to Russia, for example, and you meet a stranger, sometimes you want to ask them, what language do you speak? You ask. So it's important that you ask the person, or you discover by yourself what their love language is. And once you discover that love language, you begin to speak it. You begin to act it out. You see, once you know the love language of your partner, you give it. If the love language is quality time, then you begin to make effort, the sacrifice of spending time with that person. And let me go back. That's why premarital counsel is important. That's why it's important for you, even as an individual, to know what your love language is. For instance, I've counseled people who their love language is quality time, and they are in a relationship with a military person, for example. You are in a relationship with a military man who suddenly be deployed, maybe to another country or to another location, and your love language, primary love language, is quality time. I mean, that's almost going to create some,
Frustration.
yes, because the person will not be there to offer that love language. So first of all, you as a person discover, identify what your love language is, and then communicate it to your partner, and find out why your partner has the capacity to still speak that love language. Because the reality is, If you are not speaking the language I understand, there will be chaos. Remember when they were building the Tower of Babel, the first thing that God was to confuse their language. So anytime in confusing language, it creates chaos and it breeds all kinds of animals, all kinds of pain. And let me quickly say, there is no frustration ever. There is no place where the biggest frustration in life is to be in a bad marriage. The biggest worst place to be on earth is to be in a relationship where you don't feel loved, is to be in a relationship where you don't feel supported, is to be in a relationship where the partner is not speaking the language that you understand. That is the worst. And it's important partners begin to find out what language of their partner is and begin to speak it. Like I said, words of affirmation, gifts, physical touch, and what's the other one now?
Act of service. Yeah.
Find what the love language of your partner is and be committed to speaking that language. Be committed to it because love is sacrificial. Love is.
Thank you so much, Pastor. It has to, all of these have to be a conscious effort, you know. So like you rightly said, is a doing what is a conscious effort to do that. So you can't say, oh, my wife's love language is words of affirmation. Oh, I don't know how to say those things. Then you can learn it. Oh, this is my husband's language. He loves this. Oh, I don't know. You can learn it. If you want to love that person, you have to go the extra mile to do it, because I mean that's what love is. It's not a comfort zone anyway. It's a conscious step that you take. You said something, Pastor, and I want us to buttress on that. You're talking about, it's a little digression, but I think it's worth it. You're talking about adding value. This morning I started thinking about something. I dropped my son in school and I was coming back, and something started coming so strong in my spirit about this topic today. And I started saying, why is it that a lot of people will say, oh, women respect their pastors more than they respect their husbands at home? And this morning I felt like I was answering myself, could it be that pastors are adding more value to such people? And if they are coming from a home where a pastor is meeting the woman and the pastor is encouraging the woman and the pastor is praying with the woman and the pastor is appreciating the woman, but the woman get back home and meet a husband that will talk her down and is not adding values, then sometimes they say this is it. It happens even on the other way around too. When a wife doesn't know how to encourage a husband into the things that they're doing and adding value to the life of that husband, you know, and is putting the husband down, and it goes out and other people speak that love language. Because what you talk about now, I look at this love language like, yes, not just even on our love relationship, like maybe I'll say emotional relationship. It can apply to every other thing also. Absolutely. It can apply to other things. Even a parent can learn about their children's unique love languages and be willing to do certain things, even for that children or the children to their mother. Please, I want you to really talk about that, adding value and the consciousness of that.
Okay, now, like I said earlier, I said love is giving, love is sacrificial, love is a response, love is not a feeling, love is give. Bible says it's a command to love one another. That's the responsibility of building our home on us. That builds the responsibility of the quality of relationship that we have on us. It's not going to build our homes for us, and God Himself is come down to build our homes for us. Ephesians verse 28 said, husbands ought to love their own wives as their. He who loves wife loves himself. So you see that once you understand that loving your partner is not doing your partner a favor, but actually doing yourself a lot of favor. Loving your partner is not doing your a favor, it is doing yourself a favor. The Bible went for that in 1 Peter 3:1. It says, wives, likewise, be submissive to your own husbands. To your own husbands. So God is saying that the place where the test of submission should be is in your home.
Mhm.
Now, so every woman has the responsibility to build a home. The Bible says a wise
Mm.
woman will build a home and a foolish
Mm.
down. So it means that the primary place where we should express love as Christians, as husbands and wives, is in
Mm.
our homes. The
Mhm.
best place submissive is in the home. The
Mm.
best place to express love is the home. Now, to answer your question, there are those who go out there, look at their pastors or women, especially, for example, see pastors who are adding value and they are more submissive, they are more drawn to those people, they are more serving, as far as those relationship is concerned. It is true basically with humans. Humans are attracted to where value is given. Every human being gravitates towards value. That is why if you have a dog and you are not feeding the dog and your neighbor is feeding your dog will naturally gravitate towards that your neighbor. Humans gravitate towards the place of value. For instance, there is a jackpot syndrome happening in Nigeria now. The reason why people are leaving their own country and wanting to go outside of this country is
Mm.
because as far as there's much in their own for them, as far as they're concerned, there's much value to gain being outside than being in their own country. And so that's why it's important. Rather than complain that your partner is going out there, you start
Mm.
by asking yourself, how much of
Mm.
value am I?
Mm.
What value do I represent? Because Pastor
Mm.
Stu, let me say that your worth in every relationship is measured by the degree of value you represent and you bring.
Mm.
I say to people that anything that has high value is not easily replaced. When
Mm.
you are replaced, it's because your value is less. And
Yeah.
so, as a spouse, as a partner, you must tell yourself, I will bring so much value because your partner saw every other person before they choose you to spend the rest
Mm.
of their life.
Mm.
Every relationship in life can be easily replaced. You can replace a
Mm.
pastor very, but
Mm.
when it comes to marriage relationship, you can't just replace them. So
Yeah.
it's important that you make up your mind to represent much more value. Like I said in one of my messages in recent time, people think that they should give value to other relationships outside than the ones that they have at home. And so it is the value, and it's a law of life, it's a law of seed and
Mm.
harvest. And
Mm.
so people should be focused. If you realize that you are not getting the best of your partner's attention, for
Mm.
instance, it's important that you begin to consider what value do I represent. Of course, there are
Mm.
persons, and I'm speaking in the context of a healthy, two healthy partners, because there are
Mm.
certain persons who are thwarted. No matter what you do, you
Mm.
know, no matter how much value you bring, they will never see the value. You
Yeah.
understand? There are people like that. And that is not on you. That is not on you who is
Mm.
probably bringing the value. The persons have certain issues that they are dealing with. If you
Mm.
understand. So, but in a normal situation where there are normal
Mm.
human beings, sane human beings, healthy human beings, you should be focused on bringing value
Mm.
into
Mm.
marital relationship so that the marriage can be healthy. And when you bring that value, you're not doing your partner a favor, you're actually
Mm.
doing yourself a lot of favor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So focus
Because
addition. Focus should be on value addition. What value do I?
yeah.
How much value do I? If my partner today wakes up, I want to mention the people who played huge role in their life. For
Mm.
example, it's going to rise
Mm.
up and say, I want to mention the people who play a huge role in my life. Will your partner mention you?
Yeah. I mean, without lying about it, sometimes some people have to lie, you know, because if a pastor's wife is not adding value, when the pastor come up, the pastor will have to say thank God for mama and so on, so that things does not degenerate
And
more.
that's the worst place
That's the worst place to be.
because you are living
Yeah,
a double life.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
because you can't blame people for doing that sometimes, unfortunately, because you don't want things to get bad the more. So the person wants to just say, oh, let's just, oh, appreciate. But like you rightly said, in sincerity,
Yes.
if you're
Yes.
mentioning people that are affected your life, it should be your partner. And you rightly said something. Some people, some partner have certain issues, because some people are frustrated. I'm doing everything and this man or this woman is not responding. Some people have issues. I've said it. There are a lot of mental issues that are going on in churches, but people don't understand it. And we want to over spiritualize everything, and somebody is behaving terribly bad, mental health issue that they need to see psychiatric, and then we're saying, oh, we are just going to pray, and so on. And so if that is your case, is a different thing. So let's talk about, Pastor, about situation where some people have married for a very long time. Some maybe not very long time, maybe just getting married and the early crisis in relationship. And they're in that stage right now where they can't even remember how they started the journey of their love. And maybe they're hearing this now and they want to make things right. Because I believe that at any point in life that we make things right, things will continue to be well. So they want to make things right. How do they start this journey of love back? They don't have the feelings. We know that it goes beyond feelings, So how do they bring about that new wine into their relationship? How do those people get it back?
Quickly, let me state that marriages fail. There are five reasons I have here that makes, that are responsible, or that is responsible for the failure of many marriage relationships. Number one is the lack of understanding and the purpose of marriage. The lack of understanding of the purpose of marriage. Number two is when you are married to an unreasonable person. These are number two reason why marriage fail. Being married to an unreasonable person. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 1 says, "Oh God, deliver us from wicked and unreasonable person." Unrealistic expectations. When you expect marriage to deliver, um, deliver on what it was not originally designed to deliver on. Then number four is wrong foundations. And then number five, when you are in a marriage relationship with an unwise person. I use the word unwise because I don't want to use the word foolish. But when you are married to a foolish person, somebody who knows what to do but is refusing to do them, right? So you just ask, how do I restore back, marriage that is failing? A marriage that is failing. First of all, there are practical signs to know that the marriage is healthy. Practical signs. Number one is acceptance. Number one practical way marriage is healthy is acceptance. So the first thing that everyone that wants to rebuild their marriage should do is to accept their partner, accept the wife, accept the husband that you have chosen. Accept, because for many people, the only solution available to them is divorce. And I said to people, divorce is not necessarily a solution. Divorce is just divorce doesn't solve the problem. And solve the problem of failed marriage just by getting divorced. It doesn't solve the problem you are in. Divorce, of course, situations where we have to ask people to go separate ways, but we also will tell them that it is not a solution. So the first thing that a couple that is going through a challenging season, the first thing they need to do must come to terms with the fact that this is our marriage and must accept. You give your spouse the unconditional permission to be who God has called them to be. Accept your partner. People are frustrated because they want to change who they are married to. They want to change who they are married to. And that is frustration. God has not given any human being the responsibility of changing another human being.
Yeah.
Only personality responsible for major human transformation is the. And the last I checked, Pastor Tolu, none of us is the Holy Spirit. And so can't change another human being. So first of all, you must build that marriage. You must accept your spouse for who they are. And I'm not talking about a life-threatening situation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about accepting, because many are in a marriage today where they are full of regrets. They have regretted their decision. Now there is nothing you can do about that, because regret is the worst emotion you can ever have. So the first thing is to accept your partner. Then number two, communication. It is time to talk. It is time to talk. It is time to talk. It is time to have a board meeting. It is time to have a family meeting. Talk. Like they say, Pastor, they say talk is cheap. But in marriage or in a relationship, it is one of the most valuable assets. Talking, communicating. Let us talk. And you see, when it's talking, it is important for you to say to each other, give every one of you the permission to say the things they want to say. Many marriage relationships are muscle. They are afraid of speaking their mind the way they feel. And so you have all kinds of bottled issues. So people are imploding. You know, and if you don't create a situation where your partner can talk the way they feel, you might just be living in a fool's paradise. You might be thinking that you have everything under control, but you are in a relationship with somebody who's not telling you exactly how they feel. So if you want for your marriage, beyond accepting your partner, you must open a line of communication. You must start talking. And I want to say this to everyone. Be comfortable to hear your partner talk. Be comfortable to express themselves the way they feel. You may not like what they have to say, but you have to accept them. Sometimes we are too touchy. Sometimes we are too, how do I put it? We are too insecure. Sometimes we are willing to accept the critical position of our spouses. So we shut them down. We don't want to hear them talk. We get so agitated when they speak how they feel. So many are in relationships where they have taken to what I call the silence treatment. They are now quiet. They are not talking. And a silent partner is a dangerous partner. I want to repeat that. Silent partner, romantic relationship is a dangerous partner. Is a dangerous. When a person is not speaking their mind, they are imploding, and it's a major cause of all kinds of health situations today, Pastor Tolu. Scientifically proven, toxic marriages or toxic relationship is responsible for a lot of premature deaths that people experience today. All kinds of health issues are traceable to failed relationships. So create where your partner can talk. You know. 3, which one? This one is very important. Unconditional support. Pastor Luke, marriage, one of the purpose of marriage is that God established a platform where we can get help. Unconditionally support spouse is what make your marriage healthy. Most partner relationships are living like single people. People in a marriage relationship are just married by nomenclature, married by title. They are not truly married because they are running their life all by themselves. Whatsoever. Marriage was designed for support. Genesis chapter 1 verse 28 also. And God said it's not good for man to be alone. Not good for man. It's not good. That statement is not applicable to the man alone. It's also applicable to not good. Being alone is not healthy, especially the marriage, in the context of a marriage relationship. So providing a platform where you support your partner unconditionally will help that. So go back to that. Your partner asks them, how do I become a major support? Don't leave your partner alone to do life. If they wanted to be alone, they wouldn't have been married. If they could help themselves, they wouldn't. So they got married because they needed the help of another human being, especially on the marriage platform. Then number 4 is intimacy. But I can tell you for free that there are many couples today who are no longer sleeping together. See, marriage is the place where the highest form of human intimacy is expressed. I'm going to repeat that. Marriage is the place where the highest form of human intimacy is expressed. And so if you take away intimacy from marriage, if you take away intimacy, and in this context, I'm talking about sexual intimacy. If you take away sexual intimacy from marriage, marriage becomes like the romance between a warden and a prisoner. So intimacy is what makes marriage different from other forms of human relationship. Sexual intimacy is what makes it different. The difference between your marriage and the relationship between you and your pastor, or you and your boss, or you and your friends is that there is intimacy that cannot be expressed in all other forms of relationship that you have. And then the last way, or the 5th way, is love. get back love. Like I said, I know at this point in that marriage relation that is struggling, love is out of the way, especially the emotion. That wasn't even meant to last in the first place. Many people are disappointed when they no longer feel love. Emotional love has an expiry date. It wasn't designed to last.
Yeah.
Emotional love was designed to be renewed like TV subscription, like phone subscription. It requires renewal. Pastor Lee, if you don't renew your TV subscription, your TV will go blank.
Yeah.
The same emotional love requires renewal. It has expiry date.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are that emotional love expires. So the love I'm talking about now is not emotional love. I'm talking about the agape love, the God kind of love, where you give unconditionally, where you give it because God demands that you love your spouse. It's time for you to begin to love your partner unconditionally. And to do this, you meet your partner and promise them and tell them, I have made up my mind to love you. No matter. I have made, just like we tell people in church, turn to your neighbor, tell them you love them by force. Now it is a turn to your spouse and tell them, I have made up my mind to love you. Then the last sixth one is submission. Submission. The Bible said we should submit one unto another. Even though emphasis was given that the wives should be submissive to their husbands. And I tell women, if you cannot submit to a man, please don't marry that man. Because you are not submitting to a man. You are submitting to God through the man. You are submitting to God. And submission is not based on how you feel. Just like love is not based on how you feel. It's a commandment from scriptures. And we should be able to give it. Once you are able to apply things I've mentioned, you will restore that love or that marriage that started on a good note. You restore it.
Wow. You talk about accepting your partner. Number 2, communication. Number 3, unconditional support. Number 4, intimacy. Number 5, love. Number 6, submission. Pastor, let me add one more to it, maybe to be number 7 to perfection. Is humility.
Oh, good. Thank you. Humility. Thank you.
If people are not humble, they won't even accept their partner, because sometimes they feel, you and I have canceled marriages, and we see where someone, a humble person, a person that is not humble, will demonstrate that in pride, if he's a man, and demonstrate that in ego. And if he's a woman, she will demonstrate that in stubbornness. This is just me. I'm not going to do this. This is just me. If that person is standing on that high horse and not humble, they can't accept their partner, number 1, because it has to be their way. They cannot communicate because it has to be their way. They cannot even give that support because they don't think their partner deserves it. They cannot get into intimacy because, oh, you want me to have sex with you? What did you say that to me? Because a lot of people, this humility is in the people that, we cancel that. People don't want to be humble, but you talk about it in this submission. You talk about it in this submission. And if we look at that, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 21, it says submitting one to another. So I've heard a woman said, oh, the Bible said, husband, love your wife, not wife, love your husband. I said, no. Everything that the man needs, also the woman needs. You do it for one another. You love one another. You submit to one another. You honor one another. You respect one another. You reverence one another. Pastor, I want to say something. You said something here that I want to pick you on it. You're talking about reasons why some things go like that. One of the first things you said is lack of understanding and purpose of marriage. Let's go purpose of marriage. Understanding of purpose of marriage. Let's look at the place of culture. I live in an environment where I see the way things are. I have a neighbor that has been married to her husband for 60-something years. And the husband was sick in the hospital. She came home, I saw her downstairs, and I said, how is he and everything? And he said, I don't know what I'm going to do without him, and so on like that. And she wanted me to pray. These people are in their almost 90s. you know, and see the way like they respect one another. How do we get that in a culture where it doesn't really promote that? How do we let people understand the purpose of marriage? Maybe you can start with us by teaching us about this purpose and the need for us to understand it better.
Okay, I read a scripture earlier in Genesis where the Bible said, God said it's not good for man to be alone. God said it's not good. You and I were not there. God created man, looked at man, and God said, prior to that time, everything God created, God said it was good. When God looked at the condition of man, God said it's not good for the man to be himself. And God went ahead. Let us design a solution to this existing problem. There is an existing problem. And what is that problem? That man is alone. Man wasn't lonely. Man was just alone. Man wasn't lonely because man had all of the animals in the garden. Man had even God himself to him. So man wasn't lonely. Man was just alone, especially in the context of fulfilling the assignment of God upon his life. You see, God brought us to this side of life to actually be an extension of his kingdom here on earth. God wants us to establish his kingdom. God has an assignment for every man, every woman he created. I'm going to repeat that. God has an assignment for every man he created. And when God looked at man, God said, in order for you to be able to fulfill that assignment, I need to create a system that will help you. And that system is what we call marriage today. That thing that God established to support man, to make man achieve a purpose why God created it, is called marriage today. So primary reason for the purpose of marriage is so that man and a woman can fulfill God's agenda, God's divine assignment of life. That is why when you're married to a partner, no matter how sexually active they are, no matter how good a person they are, if they are not helping you to fulfill the assignment of God upon your life, there will be frustration. Because primary purpose for marriage is to fulfill God's assignment and agenda. And that is why when you want to marry anybody, the question you ask yourself is this: do I know what God has called them to do? And if I know what God has called them, do I have the capacity to helping them fulfill what God has called them to do? Even if I don't have the capacity, am I willing to get trained? Am I willing to get educated? Am I willing to get equipped with the necessary skill required to helping this man fulfill his assignment on earth, to helping this woman fulfill her assignment here on earth? The Bible speaking in Amos 3:3, it says, two work together except they be an agreement. So marriage was designed so that a man and a woman can come into a union, an agreement, to be able to fulfill that God has called them to do. So, to answer your question, once you are not in the life of your partner to enhance the quality of their life, you are aware you are a Yoruba woman, I believe, and then you know that in the Yoruba culture, even before the advent of Christianity, once you say you want to marry a person, they always try to make consultations. They sometimes consult the oracles, consult the gods, and their primary focus is to see into the future of these two people. Is there prosperity? Is there advancement? Is there growth in their? So marriage was designed to make us better. Marriage was designed to make life better. So if a marriage is helping to make your life better, that marriage is frustrating. So just to like the illustration, man even at old age is looking out for a husband. That's why for a selfish person, anytime you see a selfish person, it's a danger to another, especially in marriage. A selfish is a danger, is an instrument of destruction in the hand of another. So most people in marriage today are toxic to their partners. They are dangerous. They are using a weapon in the hand of Satan to destroy that person. Because when the devil wants to destroy a man, he goes through their partner. And what the person does is that he stops the support system of the. It's like you going to the hospital and seeing somebody on oxygen, on life support, and you remove life support. That person will gasp for breath until they die. Now, not immediately you remove the life support, for example, that the person dies. There's a process. So many people are life support as I speak today because the support system that marriage was designed to be It's no longer there. That is why I tell
Wow.
people, some single people are better off than some married people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Singleness is not an epidemic. It is better for you to be single than to be in a marriage relationship where the
Mm-hmm.
relationship is not providing the support. So the purpose of marriage, number one, is to elevate the quality of the life of another human being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The purpose of marriage is to help improve, help bring support that better the life of another human being.
Mm-hmm.
Once you are not bringing that, honey, you are not in a marriage relationship.
Whoa, that's so powerful. You know, when I was gonna get married, um Pastor Adams of blessed memory, he said something. He said, "Oh, this girl, this my daughter, she has the fire of God in her. I don't want a man that will come to quench that fire." Meaning that, like what you're rightly saying, the man should support the woman and the woman should support the man. I think when they begin to see whatever both of them are doing as family, this is our family thing. Pastor
Yeah.
Benson Ogba is into relationship issue. So the wife is supporting to say, yeah, this is my husband. This is the family. This is what we do in my family.
Yeah.
Because one of the problems that we also have is a situation where, like you covered it, where a woman wants, it has to be her. You talk about selfish people. Oh, it has to be me. Oh, if it's
Yeah.
not me, if it's not. The truth is, whatever every partner is doing now, we can even start it for people that are married. How am I supporting my partner in what he's doing? How am I supporting my partner in what she is doing? Because sometimes we have that crisis in marriage or relationship. Unfortunately, people that are not married, they are seeing all this red flag and they are still standing on it and they are still calling all kind of, oh, I saw the dream, I saw the revelation. As when all the red flags are there, and at the end of the day, when they get into it and they begin to talk about Jesus, where are you?
They are seeing the red flag, using it to sew agbada instead of
They should not see. They should be seeing green flag now, green and white against Wednesday.
yes, against Wednesday.
When Nigeria is going to win South Africa, they are allowed to see the green. So they are saying that. So how do we come to this issue? Because Pastor, like you and I know, there's a lot going on in Christian marriages right now. There's a lot of patching up. There's a lot of fonts. There's a lot of husband and wife smiling for the camera and they go on Facebook. How can marriage institution right now be redeemed? Because like you rightly said, the purpose of marriage, one of is to, one's life should be better when they get married. One's life should be more peaceful when they get married because somebody is bringing his strength. The woman too is bringing her strength. And so they have greater strength. They have greater peace. But a lot of things are hanging on the fact sometimes to say, oh, this is the way that I want to go. And I can't. There's somebody, I talked with somebody lately, and that's the thing. The partner just wanted to have their way. If it's not my way, then there is no way. How does that person, sometimes it's a woman suffering that, sometimes it's a man suffering that, and they're listening today, how do they navigate this road? I want to say for people that are watching, if you have your question, please write your question out there. Pastor will be able to answer the questions also.
Okay, let me read the scripture. Matthew 7:24. It said, therefore, Matthew 7:24. It said, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken unto a wise man. A wise man which built his house upon a rock. So it takes wisdom. It takes wisdom. It doesn't take to build. Many only come into a marriage relationship with feelings. The only qualification they have is that I love you, I feel this way about you. No, the Bible says it takes. So a fool cannot build a home. That's why the Bible says a wise man will build a home, but a foolish one will pluck it down. Foolish woman, even if
Yeah.
you are trying to build a home, will pluck it down.
Mhm.
Foolishness and building a home are compatible. So which builds up on it. And the Bible now, look at the house now. The Bible went for us, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and
Mm.
beat upon the house. So
Mm.
crisis and come, conflict, disagreement. The
Mm.
Bible said when they built this house, he said the rain descended, the wind blew,
Yeah.
and these are dimensions of crisis.
Mm.
Same dimension of conflict.
Mm.
There is dimension, and
Mm.
there is the uh, flood dimension of
Mm.
crisis. The
Mm.
Bible now said, it said, and the winds blew and it fell not,
Mm.
because the man built his house upon a rock. Wisdom. He said the house fell. And then he went further and said, and everyone that heareth these sayings of man and doeth them not
Mm.
shall liken unto a foolish man. So you see
Mm.
foolishness there. A foolish
Mm.
man which built his house upon the sand.
Mm.
And the same rain that came upon the other house will come
Mm.
upon your own. So
Mm.
every marriage has
Yeah.
a tendency, proclivity
Yeah.
of suffering some form of crisis, one form of
Mhm.
crisis.
Yeah.
Disagreement will come.
Mhm.
Disagreement will come.
Mm.
Disagreement is
Mm.
consistent with
Mm.
human interactions and
Mm.
relationships.
Mm.
Agreement is consistent
Mm.
with human interactions and
Mm.
relationships. Disagreement.
Mm.
It will come. So,
Mm.
but what matters is not the disagreement, it's how you deal with disagreements.
Mhm.
Most people who have healthy relationship, it is not that they didn't have occasion for disagreement.
Mhm.
It was just have the
Mhm.
requisite skill able to
Mm.
manage and deal with
Mm.
disagreement. So
Mm.
to answer, how do I deal with all kinds of disagreements, all kinds of toxicity, all kinds of failure in marriage? Number
Mm.
one, I tell people, be respectful even in a fight.
Mhm.
Even
Mhm.
disagree, be respectful.
Mhm.
Don't fight dirty. Some couples fight very dirty. There are things that
Mm.
come in a disagreement, unprintable names that even make the devil jealous. They are all our partners in a fight. Somebody you was married, now you are calling the person all kinds of unprintable names. So
Mm.
be respectful in a
Mm.
disagreement. Be
Mm.
respectful.
Mm.
There are, you agree with your boss. You don't go about calling your boss a fool, a mumu,
Mm.
or a no
Mm.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
So be
Yeah.
respectful in a fight. Number two, focus on dealing with the problem, not the
Yes.
come on. Focus on dealing with the problem, not the person. Most times in a disagreement, Pastor Tolu, we focus on the personality instead of focusing on the problem. When you argue with your partner, don't focus on the personality.
Mm.
Don't say this is how you used to. No,
You're a
deal
liar.
with the you are a liar. No,
Yeah.
things you say to your spouse that even if the issues are dealt with, your partner will never forget those statements you made.
Mm. Yeah.
So issue, not the sometimes it's not the person that is the problem, it's the issue. It's the issue. So focus on the issue. Then number three, and I love this one, avoid the temptation to be manipulative. Most people are,
Mm. Mm.
you see, a person playing the victim where they are not the victim.
Oh.
Oh goodness me, acting as if they are the victim. They will trigger up a situation, and then before you know it, they become the victim. They cry foul, they shout, and begin to
Yeah.
sell out. God
Yeah.
help you. You have a partner that everybody perceives to be an angel outside.
Oh.
And so you're the victim, you are in trouble. And most
Mm.
partners in a romantic or a marriage relationship have mastered the act of acting very nice in the presence of other people and
Yeah.
treating their partner with so much toxicity.
Yeah.
So such people can become manipulative, very domineering. You
Mm.
know, so avoid the temptation to be manipulative, because in manipulation you are doing yourself a lot of harm. You
Yeah.
know, and it is bad, it is dangerous, and it is something that is not healthy when you are in a marriage with a manipulative partner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pastor, you talk. I'm going to take the probably maybe my last question. This last one about manipulation. Because
Let me say one more before you talk. The last thing that they need to do is compromise to accommodate.
mm, mm,
You understand?
Compromise to accommodate. Yeah. There are times.
Your win is not a win.
Mm.
Most people come for counseling and they're angry because they feel you are supporting their partner.
Mm.
There's nothing like that in a marriage. You know, people come and they come to you after they go, they say, you didn't tell him what I want you to tell him. You didn't tell her what I wanted you to tell her. That's not the essence. A win for one is not a win for all. It's not a win for the marriage.
Yeah.
So a win for everyone is the win for the marriage.
Mm.
So come into a marriage and expecting to be right and your partner be wrong. That is why I want you to hear this, Pastor Tolu. In conflict, it is not who is right, it's what is right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In conflict resolution, who is right is not as important as what is right. Because who is right is relative to who is talking. I'm sure you have counseled people when you hear the first partner talking, you almost are tempted to believe that they are the right until you see,
Yeah.
it's not right. What is the right thing to do? So I'm not here to find out you are right, you are wrong. What do you gain when that your partner is wrong? So a win for one, not a win for all.
It's not a win. You know, it all boils down to the fact that when people get married over time, they begin to live sometimes individualistic life. So when there's crisis, it's more like it's me against her. Is she against him? Rather than saying that, how do we come together as a family? You know, and then you talk about that manipulation, because those are the point where things really begin to get bad. You know, about when people are not truthful. You can only find solution on the basis of truth. If there's no truth, then it becomes difficult to find a solution. And so, like you talked about manipulation, they say, okay, both of you talk. I'm sure you have had a thing where husband and wife is there, and the wife is just crying, and he's just crying and crying. And we're like, please, can you calm down? This is not the place to cry. This is the place to be objective if you want to be properly counseled and so on. You know, and the wife is crying. And as a counselor, sometimes if you're not careful, you begin to get emotional, like, oh, this woman is going through so much. And then in the process of counseling, you realize that the main person that is strong, the main person is the one that came forward first and started crying. And I think that that is very, very important, you know, especially in church. I'm going to quickly bring the issue of the this Osina Shida died about 2 years ago, you know, into this situation. That when you look at a husband, I mean, the first time they showed the man, my mind was like, this woman, man, why did they say this about him? He's just so calm. This is a peaceful person. This is a prayer warrior. This is a prayer leader, you know. And then we started hearing things that you cannot put together with this person. Recently, I said it last week, I started watching some of this crime documentary. And there are people that were in the church. They met in the church. And the man is the man that everybody will vow their life for. And then the man will still kill the wife. You know, how do you come about that? It happens to women, it happens to men. How do we overcome that issue of manipulation?
Pastor Tolu, you said something earlier. You mentioned people dealing with all kinds of mental issues. There are psychopaths who are born again, who are speaking in tongues. There are psychopaths who are in the church, sitting in the front.
They are speaking in tongues.
There are narcissists who are in the church. So the fact that the couple met in the church is not a guarantee that their marriage will work. The fact that the couple met is not a guarantee that their marriage will work. So the location is not ultimately what determines the success of a marriage. I need to say that. Secondly, when people, we always say that the first requirement or the non-negotiable for choosing a partner should be that the person fears the Lord, is saved. But that's not all that is required. It's just a requirement, right? So if, for example, and that's why in choosing spouses or marriage partner, we encourage that people conduct all kinds of tests. The church is very conversant with pregnancy test, genotype test, and all of those tests. Those things are not the most important test that should be conducted, because in the course of my work, I've realized that those are not the major issues I'm dealing with. Today, I'm dealing with financial illiteracy. I'm dealing with mental. I'm dealing with character flaws. I'm dealing with the lack of understanding. I'm dealing with foolishness as a major reason for why marriages are. So what do we do when we want to get married? Let us conduct some tests. Number one, mental health test, financial intelligence test is a major requirement for getting married. Now, if people are married and they're going through a crisis situation, we should have people trained in our system who are able to properly diagnose the situation. Sometimes in our system, especially in our own system as believers, when people have marriage problem, we just tell them, go and love your partner, go and be a good woman, go and whatever. Why are you doing like this? You know, we just pray for them and release them. We are not able to conduct a diagnosis. And when diagnosis is not or done properly, prescription and treatment will be bad. How do you tell a woman to go back home to a narcissistic man without proper therapy? How do you tell a man to go back to a manipulative woman without proper therapy? Some people are dealing with childhood. Some women are childhood trauma. Some women are suffering from PTSD. I've seen couples who a person who's married to somebody who is suffering from bipolar, for example. And if the partner does not understand that situation, there will always be crisis. So when people come with such situation, rather than push them back home, conduct a proper diagnosis. Just the same way when you find out a couple, a partner is HIV positive, you won't just send them home, you take them for treatment. In the same manner, if you find that maybe a husband, a wife come to you and she said, I've been tested for a sexually transmitted infection or disease, you will ask for a husband or his wife or the wife to come so that you can treat both. In the same manner, when a woman cry out or a man cry out, which of course is not very prevalent in our culture, men don't really cry out for help, as it were. You know, and that's why a lot of them are imploding, a lot of them are getting hypertensive and they are dying prematurely. But then, if you see a situation like the case you mentioned, if the church conduct a proper diagnosis and see the couple and find out what is the fundamental problem, and couples should also open up, because Christian couples don't talk when it comes to counseling. They don't talk about I've counseled you don't know what the real problem is until you begin to inquire and inquire. Sometimes we cover all of these things with all kinds of faith declarations, as it were, when we are supposed to deal with issues, because faith does not deny the fact. You like Christian, you are a believer, but there is an affliction in your home. The Bible says many are the afflictions of the righteous. But the Lord delivers, and the Lord has established a system of deliverance. And the Lord established intervention through professionals who can help you, bring you out of it. So it's important that people are giving trained personnel are given the responsibility of the intervention in a crisis relationship, so that we can save many marriages. You know, if you are dealing with someone who is dealing with all kinds of mental issues, they can be singing in the choir and be dealing with childhood traumas. They can be singing in the choir, dealing with a lot of insecurity. Most men are married to women who are insecure. Most women are married to men who are insecure. And when you are dealing with your partner, you will not be able to do anything. You know, you will not be able to do it. So there will be that constant fighting. So, and that insecurity, you are not the one that created it. Probably dealing with a situation past or in his past. You know, where they've been disappointed, and now they are transporting it into their marriage relationship today. So things that we need to go and check well, and so that we can give the proper treatment to those situations. Sometimes you need to separate partners so that we can deal with you. A man is beating you. You are not the problem. The man has the problem. Let him.
Thank you so much, Pastor. I think basically the whole thing is just that this generation, there is help. There is help in every way. I always believe that everybody getting into relationship or marriage should actually have the right mentor. It's not everybody that is trained to mentor people or counsel people in relationship. And I want to say for pastors that are here, it's good for every pastor to go for certain training. Bible school does not train you how to do some of this counseling.
Yeah.
So you need to go for certification courses, you need to go for training, even as a pastor. Some people have been to Bible school like since
And
they were,
as a
when
pastor,
Mengo Park came into the
sorry,
country.
even as a pastor, like sometimes there are situations where you make reference. You
Mhm,
know, I have people I recommend, psychiatrists, consultant psychiatrists,
mhm,
where there are issues that are beyond my training. I am
mhm,
not a psychiatrist by training, I am
mhm.
a psychologist by training.
Yeah,
Very clinical issues that you have to make
yeah,
referrals or make,
yeah,
or make recommendations. So I've sent a few persons to speak to consultant psychiatrists who help them navigate that season of their life. So,
that's,
and counseling is not for that you are a pastor does not automatically translate that you
mm,
are a counselor.
mm,
So, where you are
mm.
finding it very difficult to find that kind of support, don't find somebody else who can do it. The most
Yeah,
important thing is to save the people.
yeah, that's the most important thing, is to save the people, because it's the people of God we're talking about. So I think that that is very, very important that people should do, and they should know that there is help. There is help everywhere. There are Christian therapies, there are Christian psychologies, there are Christian this thing, so that you can be guided properly. And if it needs medical thing, there is nothing to say, oh, I don't want any stigma. No, you want to resolve issues with your life as well. It's going to make you a better person, a better partner, and a better individual. Okay, Pastor Benson came up. Okay, Pastor Benson, well, that's my question. That was my last question. So I'm going to ask you before we go, what do you really want to say as a parting word to the audience? Can you hear me? If anybody can hear us, Pastor, can you speak? Can you say something? Okay. Can you hear me? So if somebody can hear, please, can you type something? If you can't hear me, can you type it also? Hello? Can somebody hear me? We're waiting for the comment section. Please type. Okay. Someone can hear me. Can you hear Pastor? Okay, so Mrs. Ebun, can you hear Pastor Benson? Okay, Pastor Benson, can you speak? If you can hear me, if somebody can please help me call Pastor Benson, can he? I can't hear him. Auntie Ebun, you can't hear Pastor Benson, right? Can somebody that knows how to get Pastor Benson help me reach out to him? Okay. He's gonna come back. He's gonna say his last words before we close today. I'm sure he's gonna come back. I think the voice went, maybe internet. Honestly, there's so much that have been said today that I'll really encourage everyone to go back and watch this video. This man of God is loaded. Relationship issues are his specialties, apart from leadership. So please go back to watch this video so that it can really bless your life. Yeah, Pastor is back. Yeah, Pastor, are you back? Can you speak now? Pastor, can you hear me? I want to believe that his mic is not muted. Okay. 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 I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Oh, I have to do sign language. Okay, so I can't hear you. Even the whole audience can't hear you. Can you hear me, Pastor? I'm wondering what exactly is happening with the audio. Okay. I want to thank everyone that is waiting. Thank you for waiting. We're still going to sort out this audio. Oh, Josola, can you hear me or can you hear Pastor Benson? Okay, so while we're waiting for Pastor Benson, if you have a, yes, ma, you can hear Pastor Benson. Is that what you're saying? Because I'm saying yes, ma. Does that mean I can hear Pastor Benson? Please, whoever can hear Pastor Benson, can you please just say yes? If you can hear Pastor Benson, please just write on the comment section to say, yes, I can hear Pastor Benson. We're waiting. Somebody please write. So while we're waiting again, I just want to say to my beautiful friend, Pastor Rosemary, for this gift. It's so amazing. She gave me this gift some years ago. I used it, I think about 2 years ago, I used the gift, and this morning it just came up again, and it's beautiful. So if your partner wants, okay. Okay. Doyin, can you please reach out to Pastor Benson and probably or tell Pastor Patience that we can't hear him? Okay. I'm sure Pastor Benson is going to come up. And so while he's working on his audio, as we're planning this Valentine, tell yourself, I'm going to make things right. I'm going to make things right. Is very, very important. One of my sons used to say, my last son specifically said, oh, Mom, why do you always say we should do this? Oh, I just opened the door. Somebody can help me close the door. And I told him, I said, no, life is about values. You build your values because those values are going to speak for you in the future. If you learn to open a door and not shut the door when you're supposed to do it, it can affect your relationship even in the future. Some people have crises in their relationship, but they don't know how to make things right. They don't know how to make things right in their relationship. It starts from little things. And even when we're raising our children, let's raise our children to people that are going to have successful relationship. It goes a long way by the way that we do. If there's a particular child that you always allow him have his way, or that child that you always allow her to have her way, when they get married, they're going to have problem because the partner is not going to allow them have their way at all time. So while we're raising children, let's raise children to work together as a team and not have a sense of entitlement, so that when they get into marriage, they're not focusing only on themselves, but also to focus on their partner. Okay, we cannot hear Pastor Benson. I just want to say that please, everybody, go back to the message. Go back to the message, listen again, and God bless you. Next week, we'll be having another episode where we'll be talking about loving yourself. Many people want to love other people, but they're not able to love other people because they don't love themselves first. So they don't understand what this love is about. What is this love about? Why do I have to do this for this person? Why do I have to tolerate this person? Why do I have to work together with this person? If you don't study with yourself, it's going to be difficult with somebody else. So I guess we're going to go off now, and we'll see how that works. Okay, a last try. If somebody can reach Pastor Benson, can you go off again and probably come back so that we'll see what is happening? Okay, so sorry about that. I think we have exhausted all the energy today. We'll try and see if we can come back right back again if both of us go off. Just wait a minute. We'll be right back in another session, obviously, just for Pastor Benson to finish up what he has started. So you'll get another. We're starting another one right now. Thank you.